Hi, how's everybody doing today? This is Rich here on behalf of Rich TV Live with our very special guest. It is Alexander Somjen, the CEO and president of Global Care Capital Inc. How you doing today, Alex?
I'm doing great, Rich. I hope you're doing well today as well. And hello to your audience. And I'm very happy to be on.
Well, we're very happy to have you. I'm doing fantastic. It's a really good day today. Markets are green so far. Gold's doing well. Oil's finally doing well after a really weird start of the week with oil. And obviously, coronavirus stocks have been doing extremely well. And obviously, that's the sector that you guys are starting to really capitalize on. So, why don't you tell us a little bit about Global Care Capital Inc. for the people that are watching that are not as familiar with about your company?
Sure, yeah. So Global Care Capital Inc. is a global investment company which specializes in providing early stage financing to both private and public companies. So we like to engage in new early stage investment opportunities, typically in kind of previously underdeveloped assets. And we've recently announced our pivot in investment focus to the very salient healthcare sector.
Very good, very good. And what are some of the current products that Global Care Capital Inc. has?
Yeah, so as a publicly traded investment issuer, we're obviously making investments in other companies. So at present, we have two portfolio companies that are 100% owned subsidiaries of Global Care Capital. The first being Reformation Pharmaceuticals, which is a stem cell project. It's a preclinical stage biotech working in collaboration with the University of Oxford, headed up by a very brilliant doctor named Jagdeep Nanchahal, and he's working on developing IP surrounding a molecule that primes the body's own stem cells to repair damaged tissue.
Wow.
And then our second 100% owned subsidiary portfolio company, which we recently acquired, is Virax Clear, which we are extremely excited about. So Virax Clear falls on the distribution component of the value chain, and they are a distributor of antibody test kits for the COVID-19 virus.
Wow.
And they have in place a very solid partnership with their manufacturing partner based in China, and they are well positioned to satisfy and fulfill the insatiable demand for test kits in the market currently.
Very good. And here at Rich TV Live, we love to invest in undervalued, underappreciated, underexposed opportunities. And we love to identify the company's share structure and how many shares are held by insiders. Can you break down the company's share structure and how much shares are being held by insiders right now?
Yeah, absolutely. So in terms of shares outstanding, we have about 54 million shares outstanding currently, and about 18 million warrants and options. In terms of the percentage of insider ownership, I would put it at roughly 10%.
Okay, very good. So you guys got some skin in the game. You guys are obviously holding a nice position in the company. And who would you say are Global Care Capital Inc.'s main competitors?
Well, I mean, the industry that's spawned up as a result of this dilemma we're in is very fast moving and ever changing. So it's a bit of a complicated question because I think it changes on a day by day basis. In terms of competitors I can think of up in Canada, you'd have Sona Nanotech, and in the States, AYTU Bioscience would be another comparable.
Okay, very good. I know them very well. We've actually talked about both of them on our show, and both of them have skyrocketed and done extremely well. What sets you guys apart from your main competitors? What makes you guys different as opposed to Sona
So
and AYTU?
yeah, so in the investment issuer, the investment issuer model is probably one of our unique selling points because we can focus on two enterprise value enhancers. We like to focus on the transition from private to public assets, being able to kind of unlock a public market, capital markets multiple for an asset we identify that we fold into the company. And then also, we're in touch with very interesting deal flow at any given time, as evidenced by our Virex Clear acquisition. We're able to invest in assets and develop assets that were otherwise overlooked or just for which there was not much information available at the time.
Now, it's important when a company is building to have a strong team. Can you tell us a little bit about your team and what specialties each member brings to the table?
Sure. So myself, I come from a capital markets background and have a lot of experience working in an officer and director capacity of public and private companies. So I understand most of the facets involved with that. Our CFO has decades of experience as a chartered accountant. Um, in terms of the portfolio companies, Jagdeep Nanchahal, who I mentioned, who founded Reformation Pharmaceuticals, is an MD PhD from Oxford, and is developing some very exciting research, which I mentioned previously, surrounding stem cells. And then for Virax Clear, the founder of Virax Clear is a gentleman by the name of James Foster, who's a British expat who's been living and working in China for over a decade and has built out some very successful distribution platforms there and really brings to the table some very long-standing, productive working relationships with some very important Chinese-based manufacturers, which really help Virax Clear with their supply chain needs.
And if there was one thing you would want shareholders to know about the company, about Global Care Capital Inc., what would it be?
Well, I would want to emphasize our recent acquisition of Virax Clear. Obviously there is a business opportunity there, but more importantly, I really want to message that we are really trying to play a role in returning life to back to normal, or at least some semblance of normalcy. And I think these antibody test kits, which can prove immunity, are one of the ways to do that. You've heard so many pundits and government officials talk about how either a vaccine comes to the surface, or more of these test kits are made available. So Global Care, through its acquisition of Virax Clear, is really trying to contribute to the latter and make sure that we can supply these test kits globally to help get us out of our current dilemma.
Is the Canadian stock currently halted?
Yes, the Canadian stock is currently halted pending a news release from the company, just clarifying that all of our distribution agreements are in fact in place with our manufacturing partner. As I mentioned before, this new industry is ever changing, and there are lots of other players in the industry that may or may not be disseminating misleading information regarding exclusive distribution agreements, et cetera. So we're just simply going to clarify in a press release that all of our distribution agreements are intact with our manufacturer, and we're still able to fulfill orders and get the test kits out to market.
Okay, cool. We have a few questions coming in from the audience. Do you mind if I ask?
No problem.
Awesome. One of the questions from Anthony Alvarez, how you doing, Anthony, is, Rich, I would like to know if any of the companies looking to go to human trials anytime soon.
So as far as human trials, I assume that pertains to Reformation Pharmaceuticals. So Reformation is still preclinical stage. We're still at the point where we're trying to button down that intellectual property surrounding the molecule that Jagdeep has identified and is developing novel composition of matter on. I would say human trials are still a few years out for Reformation Pharmaceuticals.
Okay, very good. And you guys, your stock has been can you talk a little bit about what happened with the name change? And just for anyone who wasn't familiar with the background of the company, because the stock went from like a penny to $1.25. Was that a reverse split? A lot of people are not sure if it was a reverse, if the stock just exploded. I'm assuming it was a reverse split. Is that correct? You guys
it was a 25-for-1 reverse split that took place, and then pursuant to that, the outstanding float was quite minimal. We did do a name change and a rebrand. We're still undergoing the rebrand currently. I think when we announced our healthcare pivot and our pivot kind of into the pandemic industry, obviously there's a lot of excitement surrounding that. So I think that excitement, coupled with our minimal float, and then eventually, once we disclosed all the information to the market around Virax Clear, which is a very exciting business, I think that certainly led to some upward momentum in the stock.
Sorry, you just mentioned your minimum float. Can you just let the people know what your float is right now?
Yeah, so currently there are 54 million shares outstanding. Now, a major portion of that is still restricted pursuant to the private placement.
So you would say the float is how many? Do you have an estimate of how many shares is in the float right now?
I would say that that the float is roughly two-thirds restricted at this point.
Wow. So there may be
Yeah.
15 million shares in the float in that area. 15, 20 million shares.
Yeah, I would have to confirm exactly, but something in that area.
Like an
Yeah.
estimate, guys, like 15, 20 million shares in the float. Stock's currently sitting at $1.37 in Canada. I believe the price I looked at in the US was the symbol in the States, guys, is RSCZF, which is actually trading today still. And it's right at 99 cents. So, for anyone that wants to get in contact with the company, what would be the best way for them to get in touch with the company?
I would say the best way would be to email investorrelations@globalcarecapital.com.
Okay, great. And is there anything else you want to share with the community before we say goodbye?
No, I just want to say it's a pleasure being on your show, Rich, and answering questions from your audience, and I look forward to staying in touch with the market.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Alexander Somjen, the CEO of Global Care Capital Inc., a company to watch. Put it on your radar, put it on your watch list. They're making big moves in the coronavirus space, a space where everybody in the world has been touched, guys. So keep it on your watch list, keep it on your radar. Don't let this one make a move without you paying attention to what's going on. And we'll keep you updated on everything as it happens. And Alex, we'd love to have you again on the show. Hopefully, if you ever have any big news or anything that is pertaining to the market that we need to let people know live, love to have you back on the show again soon.
It would be my pleasure. Thanks very much, Rich.
Thank you, Alex, and keep up all the great work.
Thank you.
Have a
Take
nice day.
care. Bye.